Welcome back and thanks for joining me in week 3 of the Pantry Challenge. What the Pantry Challenge means for me, my rules, is that the month of January I am not going to the grocery store. I am not eating food from anywhere but my home. So tonight I'm going to be making a Marsala. I had some leftover sausage and mushrooms from the pizza we made together last night. So we're gonna make a Marsala sauce to go with that. I have some water boiling. I have some Fiber Gourmet. It's light pasta, super good. You can't tell the difference. So I am going to get these in the boiling water. Next up, I'm going to get an onion sauteed. So I already have the olive oil heating. You know, I think we don't have too much sausage and mushrooms, so I think I'm just going to saute up half an onion here. And as always, we're saving our onion scraps to make chicken stock with. Which is ironic because for this recipe, we're going to use store-bought chicken stock. Oh my, those onions are fragrant. I have like 3 cloves here. One of them's pretty small, one of them's pretty big. Wow, I'm into a new bag of onions and you can definitely tell they are much more potent than the last bag I had. Okay, so we're gonna get the garlic in there as well as some more oil because that's getting pretty smoky. Now this meal is gonna come together pretty quickly because we don't have any meat to cook. Now, in last month's Azure haul, I had purchased this 5 pounds of green beans, knowing that we were going to be light on produce towards the end of the month. So we are going to use these for the first time. So you have to boil the water first, the directions say. I mean, I feel like you can cook frozen green beans just about any way, but I'll go along with what they have to say. Okay, next up we're going to add the Marsala. I don't have very much of this left, so I'm just gonna have to use what we've got. I haven't used this in a long time. Okay, so I'd say we probably had just around half a cup. Oh my God, I love that smell. All right, so I'm gonna put the same amount of chicken stock in this. Now this is from a previous life prior to having chickens and making my own chicken stock. Pantry Challenge, this is what it's meant for. This is our last kind of store-bought chicken stock in there, which is good. It's the reduced sodium, which is good because I'm out, and that's gonna be one of our canning projects this weekend. You don't realize how much you use something until you don't have it. So we'll turn this up a little bit. Okay, next, this is how I stored our sausage and mushrooms from yesterday. So we'll just empty this into the skillet. Really packed it in there. With that, I usually make a creamy Marsala. We don't have heavy cream. I usually don't have it, so we're just gonna go in with some whole milk. And add some salt and pepper to that. And we will let that simmer. We'll have to see if we want to thicken it or if it'll thicken itself over the heat. Okay, now we're gonna add the frozen green beans there. Let's check the pasta. We're only going to want it to get to al dente, not fully cooked, because we'll want it to go in with our sauce. Still has a ways to go. This pasta, whatever makes it light, makes it take a while to cook. So I did end up adding, I did end up adding about a teaspoon of flour to this to thicken it up. So this is looking pretty good. Now we're just going to add enough pasta to get it to the mixture, like the ratio that we want. Now we're going to turn that on down as low as it will go. Okay, we're just gonna put a little bit of butter in with our green beans. And then this spice mixture we made together last week. Okay, so this is what dinner is looking like for us tonight. So during this pantry challenge, not only have we been making our way through the pantry, through the refrigerator, through the freezer, I feel like we've also been doing a lot better making use of what leftovers are, case in point the sausage and the mushrooms. Trying to get a little creative with that. All right, so here we have our Marsala with sausage and mushrooms. We cooked it with a light pasta. Then we just have some green beans out of the freezer. We're almost our whole way through our produce in the refrigerator. So we're halfway there. And this is our meal for tonight. We'll see you next time. All right, tonight we're going to have some comfort food, a chicken pot pie, but we're going to try and make it on the lighter side. So we're just going to do one crust on the bottom, no top crust, and we're not going to be doing any potatoes. I thought this was going to be a great way to use up some leftover chicken we have in the refrigerator and also make it really veggie heavy. So right now I have an onion, 2 cloves of garlic, and 2 large carrots sauteing in here. Now I'm going to go in with some frozen vegetables that I have before we kind of thicken it into the sauce, the filling. Peas, love peas. I got these on sale at Aldi. So we have a few bags of them out there to work through. Then we have our big bag of green beans from Azure that we got into yesterday. All right, so those will cook down, but that looks pretty, like a decent amount, maybe too much. But it's never a bad thing to have leftover chicken pot pie filling. You can just kind of eat it as soup. So we'll let that saute up. We had cooked a whole chicken in the Instant Pot a few days ago. So what I'm going to do is pick through this for the shredded meat, and then I'm saving the bones. I'm gonna make chicken stock later because I'm out. I'm going to put it right into this basket that goes in the Instant Pot. It is the easiest way to make chicken stock. You'll have to check out my video on that, but any kind of fatty pieces that we don't want or bones will just go into the stock. You know, I'm doing this with my own chicken from home that I cooked, but honestly, I think rotisserie chickens from the grocery store are a great convenience item. You can make multiple meals out of them, but don't throw those bones away. Save them to make stock out of. So a couple of days ago, we had opened this store-bought chicken stock together, getting it off of the pantry shelf, so I'm going to use the rest of that. All right, and I don't think that's going to be enough. So I'm gonna fill this with some warm water and get some of my chicken, better than bouillon type. Okay, so rather than dirty another dish to mix this up, I just put that spice mixture in here with some hot water. Then I'll just put the rest of this back in the refrigerator. Now, this is delicious and good in a pinch, but just as I was measuring it out, I got a glimpse of the ingredients list and it reminded me why we make things from scratch, but good to have in a pinch. Good to have in a pinch. I don't keep cream on hand. It's probably easier if you do have cream, but I'm just going to go in with some milk and then we'll thicken this up with some flour. I go heavy on the thyme. I love the flavor of thyme with poultry dishes like these, any soups or casseroles especially. It's pretty heavy on the garlic and onion already. So we're just gonna go in with some salt and some pepper. Then we're just gonna go in with some flour here to thicken it up. Okay, so while that's working on thickening up, I'm cheating today. I had a store-bought pie crust in my freezer. I got it out earlier, let it thaw out. Just makes this so simple. I definitely wanna, I think I've mentioned this on pretty much every video, definitely want to do my own in the freezer once I work through these. I don't know how I'm feeling about this. Should I leave it in this deep dish one? Or should I let it have more of a crust in a regular dish pie? Well, this is what it looks like it's going to be now. Okay, we're going to continue to let this thicken. Okay, since we are happy with the consistency, I am going to pour this in the pie dish. We definitely have way too much. It looks like we're gonna have enough for a second. I am going to get out another pie crust and freeze this. Okay, now not necessarily enough for a second, so we'll just keep it in the refrigerator and kind of eat it as soup. Reminder, if you're making one of these, put a cookie sheet in on the rack below. We're gonna pop this in at 350, cook it until the crust is done and until that filling firms up a little bit more. We'll be back when it's done. We're gonna put together a kale salad. Well, I think it goes without saying that while the pot pie was in the oven, I went and got a workout in. Where are my other Pello farmers at? So while that's finishing up in the oven, we're going to put together a salad. Miraculously, these mixed greens are still thriving. I did put a paper towel in there, like was suggested on the channel. Thank you to whoever did that. But I was kind of losing hope, but this is amazing. Actually, the mixed greens fared better than the kale. The kale is not doing so well. We have some exciting stuff coming to the channel. I think I've devised a plan to come up with a hoop house situation with minimal resources, including, I don't want to give it all away, but including something that was left on the property for us, not gardening related at all, but was left here when we moved in. I think we're going to be able to transform it into something that we can grow these cold weather crops in for a longer season. Okay, so we have the kale chopped up. We put it in here. We have the leftovers in here for the chicken scraps. I was going to chop up this head of cabbage, kind of make a slaw, but I think we'll save it. All right, so I was gonna add some slivered almonds to this. Again, I was thinking more slaw, but I think we can do the same with a regular green salad. Some of those slivered almonds in. Probably craisins would be my preference, but I don't have any of those. Then we'll go in with some of our fermented red onions. I love a little tang and a little sweet, kind of counterbalancing those onions with the raisins. We're gonna put some balsamic in here, some of our oil. This is a fun ingredient. This is our cranberry mustard. I made this super simple. It turned out much better than I expected. I'll link the video with the recipe in the description. We'll go in with maybe a tablespoon of that. All right, then we're gonna go in with some honey. Now, I just put in my order for bees. I'm so excited. I'll probably talk about it endlessly. But I'm going to try to find ways to use honey so I can make the most use out of the honey that they produce. That's something that I recommend when you get into hobbies like in the homesteading umbrella, gardening, you know, raising animals, preserving. Start early in teaching and learning. So kind of, you know, one thing that I did is I knew I wanted to plant a garden. So I started water bath canning with produce from the grocery store. I taught myself how to can before I taught myself how to pressure can. So it all kind of builds on each other. And one of my Peloton instructors said, it's not hard, it's new. So new things are going to be an uphill battle. They're going to be difficult. So I think kind of integrating them into your daily life, whether it's canning or learning how to use all of this honey yield that I'm going to have. Those are things that you want to kind of build on each other rather than be overwhelmed with all these new things at once. So we have oil, vinegar, mustard, honey. What else do I want to put in there? Probably just some salt and pepper. There were some cloves of garlic in with the onions, so we should be covered there. All right, so we'll dress this salad. We'll eat this within the next day or so, so it won't be a big deal that it's already dressed. Good now. All right, so we're serving up a chicken pot pie. We made it without a top crust to make it a little bit lighter. We used up pie roll from the freezer. We used up leftover chicken. We used up freezer vegetables, fresh produce, and then we put together this delicious looking balsamic honey cranberry mustard salad as well. So it is so fun as we're continuing to get more and more creative, as we have less and less ingredients through the month. We're having a great time and the meals are turning out, I think, really well. So thanks for being on this journey with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so this was a repeat meal from what we had earlier in the month, so I didn't film the whole thing. We have our pesto salmon. This is onion top pesto that we made in the garden, from the garden over the summer. And then in addition to that, we roasted some sweet potatoes and some Brussels sprouts. So this was a really easy meal. Everything was done in the oven. We had a canning project and some other things going on. So it was super convenient, kind of set it and forget it. So there's tonight's dinner. Welcome back. It is Wednesday. Just got back. Wednesdays are my day in the office. I had some chicken defrosting because I figured I couldn't decide what I wanted to eat tonight, but I knew that chicken would be a good start. So because it's almost 6 and I'm hungry, I am going to cut this up because it'll cook faster in smaller bite-sized pieces. Now, I think this is our last pack of chicken in there from before we butchered our own, because those we only have whole. You've heard me complain about that before, lesson learned. So these are just some nice chicken breasts from a local farmer. It has this beautiful skin on it. I don't know, I've been doing it wrong eating skinless chicken breast this whole time. The skin is so delicious and full of really good nutrients. All right, so let's take a look at what we have going on tonight while we're waiting for that chicken to cook. I have some water heating up. We're going to make this rice made with cauliflower. This is something that I had picked up on Flash Food. I did this in the grocery haul. And then this Thai peanut spicy marinade and dipping sauce. We get this from Azure. It is so good. It is pretty, like any sauce, pretty calorie dense. So usually what I do is I use some of this and then I'll pair it with some amino acids and then possibly some PP2 to get that peanut flavor back in there. So we're going to use this, and then I have a pack of frozen stir-fry veggies from Sam's Club. They're in the freezer, so I'm gonna go grab those. But again, all pretty easy items that we're just going to put together tonight for a little bit of a stir-fry. All right, the chicken is to temp here, so I'm going to add some ginger. I'm gonna get some garlic out too. And here are these frozen vegetables. All right, now that the water came to a boil, we're going to put this in for, it says 10 to 12 minutes. Now, what's interesting to me is this says rice made with cauliflower, and you open it up and it is like little, it's in the shape of rice. But you look at the ingredients, it's lentil flour, pea flour, and cauliflower flour. Cauliflower being the last ingredient, so it's interesting that that's how it's branded, but we'll see if we like it. Okay, so we'll start working on the sauce here. I turned, the veggies and the meat are cooked, so I turned down the heat. We'll use maybe a quarter of the bottle. Douse it with some coconut aminos. We do use that instead of soy sauce. Let me taste how that came together. Pretty good, but I do think I want to put some. All right, there's our timer. I am going to drain this. All right, we have our rice in here. We'll get that all mixed up. Since we have some egg production, I'm just going to scramble up a couple of eggs here. I am going to make it in this pan. With all this sauce and stuff, I'm nervous that this will stick in the cast iron. Okay, so we're just gonna put a little bit of PP2 on, lower calorie peanut butter alternative. Kind of give us that, extend this peanut flavor, and then just a dash of cayenne for a little bite. All right, we'll get these eggs in here. All right, and that's dinner. We have some frozen vegetables from the freezer, some locally sourced chicken, some cauliflower rice. We fancied it up with some Trader Joe's sauce, and then we're finally getting eggs from our flock again, so we added that for some extra protein. Hi, we are ready to round out the week here. It is Thursday, almost ready for the weekend. We are going to be making a soup tonight. It's supposed to snow, I believe, overnight into tomorrow, so I think it'll be nice to have a soup and something we can eat from for the next day or so. So we're making pasta fagiole tonight. So it's pasta and bean soup. I'm going to get started by sauteing some onions up. This is going to be a good use from the pantry. I bought a pack of miscellaneous, well, I bought a pack of an assortment of pasta from Sam's Club a while ago. It had elbows, penne, and spaghetti. I don't have the typical pasta that they usually use in this soup, so I thought elbows would be a good substitute. Okay, so we have an onion in here, 2 medium-sized carrots chopped up. Now it usually calls for celery. I don't have any celery. And I also just chopped up a bell pepper to put in there as well. I used to work at the Olive Garden. We served pasta fagiole. We always equated it to a chili, and what chili doesn't have peppers? So here I'm just adding a few cloves of garlic as well. In the background, I have beans in the Instant Pot, so we can just hopefully have the soup done by the time the beans are ready, and dinner should be ready to go here pretty quickly. Vegetables are looking pretty well sauteed, so I have a pound of locally sourced grass-fed beef here that I'm going to add. I dug a little side of the Dutch oven out so this can start to cook in there. Okay, we have the beef nice and cooked up here, and now because of the quality of it and the cut, there's not a lot of fat, so I don't even drain off any fat that happens to be in there. It just adds some flavor. So next up, let's add the chicken stock we canned together the other day. We'll add a quart of that. Then we're going to add a quart of tomato sauce from the garden. And then we're gonna add some diced tomatoes as well. We have a case of those down there, so thought it would be good to get out. Okay, now this might seem pretty soupy right now, but we're gonna thicken it up with our pasta and our beans. So let's get some of the pasta cooking in there. Let's see how much we want to put in here. We'll do 2.5 cups of pasta. Okay, so really what this needs is a heavy dose of some Italian seasoning, and then we're just gonna go in with some salt and pepper. I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of sugar here. Balance out the acidity of all those tomatoes. And then we're just going to cover it, let it get to a simmer, and those noodles will cook. Now I'm just going to chop up a cabbage salad here. I'm gonna do some cabbage, apples, blue cheese, and a vinaigrette. So let's get to chopping. I think this knife is too aggressive to chop this little head of cabbage. I'll be right back. Use this slotted measuring cup. It's so good for rinsing or getting any liquid off. This is really thickened since the noodles cooked up in there. All right, so we'll just let that continue to simmer while we're finishing up with the salad. All right, so for this dressing, I think I'm going to use white wine vinegar. We'll go in with some olive oil. We'll do a teaspoon or so of honey. We'll get a clove of garlic pressed in there. Okay, then we'll just go in with some of our cranberry mustard. Now to the salad, I'd like to add some of our fermented onions. All right, now the best part, the blue cheese. Shake, shake, shake the dressing. Oh, it's a beautiful color from that mustard. Okay, and with that, our dinner is wrapped up for the night. We have a cabbage, apple, blue cheese salad, and we made a pasta fagiole with what we had in the pantry. So we will see you back tomorrow for our Friday dinner. Okay, it's Friday night. This week's version of pizza is going to be sourdough discard crust. So I've tried this a few times before, never been super successful, but I saw a few people online this week do it this way, so we're gonna give it a try. All right, so I have the oven preheated to about 400 degrees. I'm going to pour our discard in. Okay, Okay, that's a pretty thin layer of discard, and then I'm just gonna put a little Italian seasoning on top. I'm gonna put it in the oven. Once we can flip it, then I'm going to get it back out and put the toppings on. So in the meantime, we'll work on those toppings. I haven't done anything with sourdough on the channel because I feel like there's so much good sourdough content out there. We are still learning and perfecting. Even after all these years, we kind of go through phases with it, although we have kept this same starter going since we got it in, I think, January of 2020, and my friend who owns a bakery had it going for a few years before. So, you know, I think the age of our starter might be like over 5 years old, which is pretty cool. All right, so first I'm going to get some cheese shredded. While I have the food processor out, I'm also going to shred some cheddar cheese because I'm having some guests this weekend. I'm going wedding dress shopping, and I am hosting breakfast for my mom and a few family members beforehand, so we need cheese to prep for that. Okay, so I shredded the mozzarella. And now I'm going to get the toppings ready. We are going to use some banana peppers that we canned from the garden. I have these olives still open in the refrigerator that we're going to pull from. And then I got these off the pantry shelf, quartered artichokes. So should be good. I'm going to get those ready in appropriate size pieces so that we can easily put them on top of the pizza. I think I've said this before, I put whole cloves of garlic in with the banana peppers. Oh, they turn out so delicious. We'll chop those up to put on as well. Does that look like enough toppings? Maybe like a little bit more of each. While we're waiting on that crust, we'll get a salad together. Use the last of our greens. So sad. Let's take these outer layers off. We'll put those in the bucket for the chickens. And then we'll go give this a quick wash. We don't need a whole head of cabbage. I'm just gonna slice up a little bit, and I think it'll mix nicely with the greens. Okay, so this is out of the oven. I flipped it, it didn't go so well, so I patched it together with a little bit more sourdough starter. Now we're going to top it with sauce. I am using just a jar of sauce tonight, store-bought, because it's what we had on the shelf, and I just thought it would be easier to work through. Next, we'll go in with this shredded mozzarella cheese. And then we will put our toppings on. I'm not sure about the crust to topping ratio here, but we'll put this back in the oven on 400 just until those toppings and the cheese melt. Back to the salad. Got our cabbage in there. Now, we're just going to use the rest of these toppings. Oh, I also have a bell pepper. So we'll chop up this bell pepper. Since I'm a little concerned about that sourdough pizza, I'm just going to make some bell pepper pizza bites as well. So I just have the bell pepper. We're gonna put some sauce on it. Top it with some cheese. Then we'll put a few peppers on it. Peppers on peppers, but those will be a backup in case the sourdough discard pizza doesn't fare well. You wanna know what? It's actually looking better than expected, so that is a positive. Okay, so we have the salad chopped up here, greens, cabbage, a nice big red bell pepper in there. Now we're just going to use the rest of what we already have out. These artichokes, I'm not going to cut them as small as we did for the pizza. Do a couple more of these peppers. If I drain this liquid, do you think I can? I bet it would be really good in this pepper juice, and then I'll just make another salad for dinner tomorrow night. Because I think I'm making spaghetti and meatballs tomorrow. Let me drain this. I think that is going to be awesome. Just have those marinate in there for a day. All right, we'll just get some more olives. This might be a recipe for disaster. We'll put it in a little bit bigger of a jar. There we go. Yum. Okay, salad done. Pizza in the oven. We're going to do a little bit of a cleanup here, and then we'll be back for the final product. Okay, so while we're waiting for the pizza, I thought I would dig into this. So my neighbors are going out of town, and they brought us the things that would spoil in their house by the time they got back. What good neighbors we have. They're actually really awesome. So, I mean, I'm kind of torn. Is this a violation of the pantry challenge? Is it not? I'm thinking it's not. Okay, so we have 4 cloves of garlic, plus a whole, that's a very, very nice sized head of garlic. I need to make some garlic powder in that dehydrator, so it'll be good to have extra. A bag of onions, can never have too many of those. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potatoes. I'm sure these will come in handy. There was also a small package of mixed nuts that are mysteriously gone. So, and unbeknownst to me, there's also a tub of sour cream and some carrots that Reno already put in the fridge. So what a nice little care package we have from them. All right, so our sourdough discard pizza is done. This rounds out week 3 of the pantry challenge for us. Week 3 down, 1 more to go. I might do like an altered pantry challenge for February, still thinking on that. So we will see you back next week. Thank you so much for continuing to follow along our pantry challenge journey.